Welcome to Cat Jam in the Car. Now we have our special guest, Jessica Winther. She's one of my favorite female comedians. I love this lady. Hey, Jess, welcome.
Hey, girl.
Hi, girl. Yeah,
I
good to see you.
know.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah,
we had the
right?
holidays. I was kind of late today.
Don't worry about
I
it.
was
You
kinda
know,
late.
I'm always late, but
I'm never late.
that's good. I swear, last time I did my show here, and I was 10 minutes late, and I was late another time as well. I think I just did Johnny Bath.
I like that
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah.
You're like, I think I was late.
Yeah, I think I was late. I text him. I said, he's like, get here whenever you can. I was because it's raining. Last couple of days have been raining so hard in LA.
And you're
right?
doing it in the rain?
Yeah, because I already scheduled because I didn't know it was gonna pouring
yeah.
rain, so that I had to drive to Pasadena meet because Johnny Bass is opening his ice house, right?
Oh, that's
and he
cool.
said,
Yeah.
come here, I'm gonna give you a tour. I want to see a tour of. I want to get a first
like
tour
your
in
voice.
ice house. So it's over to Pasadena, and it was like 1 hour later. Maybe
You
40
are a mover and a shaker. Okay?
you, love.
You get stuff done. Like, you're all over the place.
So it's bad or good?
It's good. No, it's never bad being a mover or shaker. You're
Okay.
like a sweet hustler.
Oh, thank you, Sweet Hustler. I want
Yeah.
to make a movie about this.
The sweet hustler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So where you're not just the hustler out there selling used cars.
No.
No, you're like, I'm just selling myself. I'm just selling myself.
Yeah, all right. So thank you. I love you. And I'm so glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. And also, we are doing a show together.
We are this Sunday.
Yeah, we'll
at
see
the,
each other again.
at the Laugh Factory
Yeah.
in Long Beach.
Long Beach, come to see us.
Yes, and my sister's gonna bring all her people because she's a Huntington. She always yells at me. She's like, "Why don't you do more shows in Orange County?"
Right,
So whenever I do the Long Beach Laugh Factory, they always show up.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, gonna meet all your whole family, right?
Oh
To
yeah,
make
you're
sure.
gonna. Well, no, you're only gonna meet. You're gonna meet one of my sisters. They don't come to my shows so much because they don't want to hear me talk about them.
Also, because you talk about your family, right?
No, I talk about myself, okay? I try not to throw everybody under the bus. Like, I just try to throw myself under the bus.
Oh, yeah, I remember that last time we did a show together, we were in Santa Barbara.
We weren't. Oh, was that? No, that wasn't the last time, was it?
Yeah,
maybe,
it
you're
was
right.
In Santa Barbara, yeah.
Because I thought, what about the tech shows? Was that?
Oh, tech
there was
show.
a lot happening at that time. Like,
Yeah.
we were all over.
Yeah, and it's holiday, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why, By the way, Jessica, let's get to you, and I'm sure people want to know about you. Tell us, how did you get in comedy?
I did what most people do. I slept with the right people. No, I did not. I did not. God, it might have been easier. It was.
Right.
I got into comedy because a comedian, a friend of mine, is a pretty big comedian, and I had run into him, and I hadn't seen him in a few years.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to get back into acting. And I said, but I'm really nervous. And he's like, I'm going to introduce you to my agent. And I was like, I'm not ready for that. Like, I just decided that today that I was going to get back into acting. I'd had my kids. I'd raised my kids. I raised my ex-husband. I raised a couple dogs.
Yeah.
I designed a house. Like, I
Right.
was a PTA president. Like, I had done a lot in this gap. And I'd worked a little bit. But I was ready for something else, right? So he had a show and he said, come to my show.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God. And I went to it and he said, okay, if you're not ready, why don't you take a stand-up class to get back into acting? I want you to know I had anxiety. I was like, stand-up? I've never thought of stand-up. I didn't grow up in comedy. I was a dramatic actress.
Yeah, drama.
Right?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel
Right?
You.
I was like, give me some Chekhov, give me some Harold Pinter. You probably don't even know who they are. I did a lot of theater. And so I took the comedy class. I had a huge anxiety attack. I didn't tell anyone. I went in. I was like, I can't. Remember when 4 minutes, you did 4 minutes on stage and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do 4 minutes. I mean, I'm gonna forget everything. I can't. Like, I was like, I'm not funny. Like, I'm not. And then I got on stage, and half my class shit the bed. Half of them, Half of them didn't show up.
Right.
One of them got up there and he did a joke about thigh gap, and for 4 minutes he just was like a broken record, like thigh gap, thigh gap, thigh gap, thigh gap. Like he couldn't go past the punchline of his joke.
Wow.
He was like thigh gap, that, and I was like, oh my, and I got up there and I had my notes and I was like, oh my God.
Like you're professional.
Well,
yeah.
I guess having notes is not professional.
Really?
I don't know if that's true. I've seen professionals with notes.
Yeah, I've seen lots of big comedians. They even have notes. Last time I saw Sarah Silverman at the Did Show Perlova, I was there, and she went up stage. She had her notes. Maybe she was just trying out her new jokes.
Right, and she's Sarah Silverman, so she can try out her new jokes at the Laugh Factory or wherever some big stages.
And she had her notes.
Right, where for us, if we're on the big, well, I don't know. For me, if I'm on a big stage and I come up with my notes, I feel like I look ill-prepared.
Yeah, I think I got that impression as well. See, like comedian, people say, "Oh, why did you have your notes on?" Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but a big comedian, they can't have notes.
Right,
on.
because you're making money. You've already crossed that bridge of notes or no notes.
Yeah. So,
right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. So when is your first open mic experience? Where is it? Where?
It's funny. I did my first show at Flappers and my second show was at the Comedy Store.
Wow,
that
is a big jump.
No, it was. I mean, it's a bringer show, but it was a bringer show, but it was the first time it was, I did bring because I had 20, they're like, you're at the, all my friends are like, you're at the Comedy Store. But what was crazy is I kept kind of doing it and I ended up working with amazing comedians there, on accident, right? You're in the lineup and you're like, oh my God. So I feel like I just jumped steps, and then I didn't do mics. And then actually David Arnold, who is a big comedian who passed, he was a teacher. I took his class. David, he's such a sweet soul. And I went and took one of his classes because I felt like I was so stuck to the rules. Just stick to the dialogue, right? Don't step off of your setup, punch, setup. And I was like, it was almost breaking me. I was like, I'm wild, it's hard to just do 3 work, keep it so tight for me. It's just hard. It's not who I am. I'm like, what is happening?
I want to straight do my 1 hour special right there. You're like,
that's what I feel like. I feel like every time I get on stage, I'm like, I gotta tell you what's going on in the world right now. I gotta tell you what's going on with me.
Yeah.
So
you have so much to give, right? Because I've seen you haven't seen her on stage. She just gave it all 100%.
I give 100. Yeah. Well, because everything I do is 150%. It works for you and against you sometimes, right? Occasionally, you do some weird stuff.
What's next step? Any big show coming up? We know Laugh Factory, and then
I've got the Laugh Factory coming up. I have Santa Barbara. I love doing Santa Barbara.
Yes, that's your place.
It is my place. I love doing Santa Barbara. I did the Santa Barbara Comedy Festival, which was fantastic, and I was sick actually, so I was up there I was losing my voice. I was like, I don't know if I'm, and then of course I was sitting quietly for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, yeah. I was like,
wake up.
I was like, girl, you bring that. I'll be in Santa Barbara. I'm working on a few things that I'm not allowed to mention, but I do have a podcast coming out with my daughter on Monday.
Oh, sweet! Congrats!
Yeah. I'm excited.
What's the name of this?
It's oh my God, we couldn't figure out a name for this podcast. It was torturing us, right? We were like, what? So it's our names. It's Jess and V. And it's my teenage daughter, and it's funny, but it's real stuff. It's real parenting, daughter, how we grew up.
Right.
Basically, now I'm out there single, and she's out there. So we.
Oh wow! Both of you guys are single.
Oh my God. So it's crazy. I'm asking my 17-year-old, what do these emojis mean? What? I don't understand. I mean, I'm not dating right now, but I'm like, what? On the dating apps, I literally was like, I don't know what this means. I was like, what does the cucumber and the tomato and the peach and what is this? That's an eggplant. And she's like, oh my God, Mom, you. So we talk about that. We also talk about parenting. You don't have kids, right?
And dogs. Look
you
at
have dogs.
this.
Oh my God. Oh, you have dogs.
That's a house of the dogs, you know.
In the back.
Yes, because like I love this house. I have 2 dogs, you know.
That's
Yeah.
good. It's good. Not like it's good. You may not, but my kids have been the greatest lesson of my life, and she's a sass ass. So I'm excited for this to come out because it's a pretty honest. I don't think there's anything like it. Like it's real. Like she's like, yeah, you fucked up as a mom, and I'm like,
She said that.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. She calls everything out, and then I call things out with her.
Yeah, but it's so. How does your daughter feel about you do comedy? By the way, does she support you?
Well, when I first started comedy,
Okay.
she was like, it's not a real job. You don't really make money.
Wow, she said that.
Oh, yeah. She's all about money. Okay. She's all about money.
So your daughter can be a business manager one day.
Yeah. Well, that girl has got her own, like, I don't even know what she's going to do. She could be a business manager, actually, because she's like already like, you're spending too much here. You need to manage this. Oh, yeah.
That's good though, because as a comedian, I feel like an artist. A lot of times, I'm the only Asian who's bad at money and like you know numbers. In fact, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend. He's a banker, and I feel like you know I was like, what should I do? I don't even know how to do my taxes because he used to do my tax and he managed like my like bank account stuff. Now I have to like start over. You know,
He managed your money?
You know, yeah, because
Already, that is the mistake.
No, he didn't really manage my money, but he just kind of told me because he's a investment banker. He just said, when I just met him, I have so many bank accounts. He said, you don't even know how many bank accounts you have. I said, I don't. That doesn't mean I have lots of money just because I'm bad at like numbers. He said, you need to consolidate all your bank accounts.
That's true. You need to tighten it up.
He told me that, like you know, kind of like otherwise I'm all over the place. Like you
right.
said,
Yes. You know what changes that? Children.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden now you have to get organized with everything because you're paying so much money to keep them functioning. Like it's soccer, it's schools, it's this, it's like tutoring, it's lunch. Oh my God. It's like you have to manage groceries.
Yeah. By the way, Jessica, speaking of that, so right now, like I know you are also single, ready to mingle, right?
No, I am not. No. I am single and no mingling. I have very bad luck, right? Not bad luck.
Because I remember last year when we were talking, do you remember we were driving to comedy show, you talk about all the guys you were saying. I was like, oh, this woman has game.
No, that's the problem. I come off like I have tons of game. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm confident, I'm cool. Like you know how many people say to me after I get off stage, wow, you're intimidating. I am a strong woman. I come from strong women. I was raised by a single mom. I have 2 younger sisters. I helped raise them. I am like my entire life I've had to fight. So I'm so tired of fighting. Okay. But that being said, I come off like people are like, oh my God. And I'm kind. Like I try to be kind. It's important for me to be kind.
Yeah.
But like but people are like, oh my God, they see this strong woman. And then when they meet me, they're like, oh my God, you're so emotional.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't know, like strong people, they can be very emotional.
We're the worst.
And subtle. You know?
We're the most sensitive people. We're just covering it up.
Yeah, because you want to put on this like a face, you know,
Protection.
Nobody can hurt you, right?
Yes.
Because I remember we were driving, we were talking about, oh yeah, at a time I was talking to you about like everything going through between me and my boyfriend. I remember you told me I
don't know what I said.
You
I
said
can't
I
remember.
should.
It was late. It was like 12 o'clock at night. I lose my mind.
You talk about it. You say, yes, if you don't feel that's right for you, you should step out of the relationship finally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. You stepped out of it. How do you feel?
Now I feel I'm very, very happy. I feel like I was kind of like just in the prison for a while.
Okay.
Like, you know, now,
because you wanted out, but you didn't know how to get out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now I feel like, I'm finally at the right place.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because I think people in relationships talking about that, we're so hard on ourselves. I was married for 22 years.
Yeah.
I've been separated for 3 years. But I think the first thing you'll hear a lot of people go, oh, I should have left sooner, right?
Right.
So many people are like, why didn't I see this? And I'm like, no. Everything runs its course. You leave when you're ready to leave.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not ready. You think the idea is there, the concept is there, like I want to get out. But until your soul is ready to get out, you'll stay. And
it's just like a comedy. It's about timing, right?
It is about timing. But also, what are you getting from it? Like when you fail in comedy, when you have a set and you're like, oh my God, what happened? You don't learn from having great shows in comedy. You learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, when you bombed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. By the way, tell us your experience. Like, what's your worst experience? You bombed.
Oh
like,
my God, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I want to hear about that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm in Vegas doing a show. I feel like it was like my first paid show outside of LA. Okay. So it was a paid gig outside of LA. I mean, more than like it was a real paid, like not just here's $20. It was like a real paid gig. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, that's people don't know about comedy. Like, you get paid very.
Drink tickets.
Yeah.
$20. Yeah. Unless you're huge. So it was a real paid show. I was going to see oh my God, I went there to do this show, but I also went there to meet somebody that I had met 3 months before. Okay. Yeah. And it was, anyways, it was my first outing outside of my marriage. Okay. Right. So it was like, I'd been alone for, I don't know, a year and a half, but it was my first dating scenario. By the way, when you're married and have kids, like, I am like a baby, okay? It's like I walked out, I don't know what, I didn't know what was going on in this world. Like, it was like another time period when I was dating, okay? And I'm actually pretty authentic. Like, what you see is when you know me, when you're in with me, what you see is what you get, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like an open book.
Yes. So I go do the show in Vegas. I'm there. I'm nervous. I'm kind of out of my body because I'm having a spiritual awakening at the same time. I had just gotten back from Chicago. Oh wait, I did a series of shows in Chicago. I did 2 great shows. I did one show where they just hated me, and my son was sick with COVID. Okay, so I'd come with like my ego kind of bruised from Chicago, even though I had a great show and I had a good show. I'd won the last show I did. I was a hot mess. My son had COVID. He has an autoimmune. It was like so many things were happening. I was like, should I come home? Should I go? So now I'm in Vegas. I like this guy. He's like, I'm coming to your show. I was like, I don't think you should. I don't think you should come. Like, I like this guy, and my whole set is about my ex-husband and how I have 5 different doctors trying to fix my heart, and not one of them's a cardiologist, right? So I'm sitting here talking about how my life is crazy. I did all these crazy things. I don't really know this guy. Like, he's knowing, and I don't carry the same, I have an alter ego that kind of comes on stage with me, right? Okay. She's Jessica personified. She's my subconscious. She's the other part of me, the alter ego that's like, this is bullshit, she's the other part that wants to talk. But when you get Jessica, you get this, right? And Jessica's very spiritual. Jessica's like, let's talk about life. Oh, you break up. Oh, your journey. I'm here for you. Like, there's that.
You're like a healer. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then the stage Jessica is the other side of Jessica. It's my Sasha Fierce, okay? She's like, people will be like, wow, you're so different on stage. I'm like, yeah, so is Beyonce, okay? Beyonce's not running around her house in like costumes, right? Saying, everybody got me looking so crazy. No, the band. So you're allowed to have that, right? But it was like, wow. So anyway, it's me. It's just another facet of me. So he shows up, and not only does he show up, he sits like in the front row. Okay, he's in the front row. I'm like trying to, I don't even know him that well. And here he is sitting in the front row, and I'm like, yeah, I was married to this ex-husband of mine. And I'm like, oh, everybody thought I was crazy. I mean, I did a 30-minute set in 10 minutes.
Wow.
They hated me. I bombed. It was like I couldn't stop. It was like this. I got an asshole. I have a husband. I was literally like an auctioneer.
Do you think it is that because that guy was there?
Yes. And who sits in the front row? Like who? And then just looking at.
Wow.
I was like, oh, I couldn't even look at him.
Yeah.
And then I made a joke about him and called him, he was a neurosurgeon, but I called him a neurologist and his feelings were hurt. Listen, he was his own mess. But my point being is, I didn't know how to date. I didn't know what was going on. And I was like, you can't show up and sit in the front row of a woman that's like a comedian.
Do you think he didn't know, like, sitting, if you sit at the front row, you're gonna make fun of,
I think he's such a narcissist. He wanted me to talk about him in the front row.
Maybe he wants you to talk to him.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Anyways, I bombed. I felt so bad. I felt like I needed to give back the money that they gave me. I mean, I was mortified.
Wow. But it's okay though. I think it's every comedian. You got to bomb. Right?
Yeah. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I learned a lot. But you do bomb. And that was like, I've never in my life, I did 30 minutes of material in I think 10 minutes. Like that, I mean, it was like I was on crack cocaine. I was like, oh my God. And then afterwards I had to go back to his house. And yeah, because I was staying there and I literally was like, I gotta go home. And I said, you made my set bad. It was, oh my God, it was terrible. I was like, you can never come to a show of mine again. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Listen, I actually didn't want him to come.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. I was like, I don't know you well enough to come to my show. Even though the first one we met, I was hosting a huge show at Notoriety in Vegas, and I was like host Jeremy Piven, Daryl Hammond. I had all these huge comedians, and it was like right after COVID. So he saw me in that format, but now I was like, oh, I know you now. Like now I like I didn't even know who he was. Now I liked him. I think he was a chuckle fucker. I really do. I mean, I don't know if that, anyways, now I don't deal with any of that.
Okay.
At all. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of your comedy experience, comedians have different way to get themselves ready. How do you get yourself ready? Get on the stage.
Well, I have piles and piles and piles of notebooks, and I do cue cards. And so I do a cue card with sight words of my jokes. And then I have my set, I know how I'm going to start, I know how I'm going to finish. But occasionally, I go down a road of, it depends on what's happening with the crowd, where I'm at. So I have my start, I have my finish, and I know what I want in my middle. But I have enough material that I do play. I'm like, oh, if something happens or a comedian says something, I'll roll off with jokes I have. So as long as I know my start to finish. But I have a little cue card that I always put on my body. I don't know why. It's like a little safety net. It's just on my body. I don't pull it out.
Yeah.
I don't pull it out.
I also see lots of comedians, sometimes they just bring their phone up there and they kind of just scroll through their phone. I was like, that's courageous. So I was like,
Girl, I can't even get my face thing open on my phone.
Yeah,
and then it shuts down.
Oh my gosh, totally.
I don't know how they're doing that, because I'm like, every time I see that, I'm like, my phone shuts down.
Yeah, and I was worried, if you go through your phone, it's like, how about you couldn't find that, right?
Yeah, but what if somebody calls? That, I have ADHD. I'd be like, oh my God, my daughter's calling. Okay, oh.
Oh my God.
I can't even shoot videos with my daughter. She's like, I'll take a picture and I'm like, oh my God, someone's texting. She's like, you can't see that in the picture. I'm like, it is so distracting. I can't. I'm old school. I believe I handwrite a lot of stuff. I write every day, right? Some of it makes it, some of it, I write every single day. Right. But I'm old school. I believe if you put your pen to paper, it locks in your mind better.
Yeah, I believe in that as well. Yeah, totally.
But then again, I'm older.
Yeah.
So it make me old school.
Yeah, traditional ways, right? Just like you said. All right, so we're going to get to some other questions.
Okay.
All right, talk about relationship. What's a deal breaker of your relationship?
My standards have been low. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. A deal breaker in a relationship. I wouldn't know because I only get myself in situationships.
Oh yeah.
But
you're this kind of you're falling in love. You just.
I don't. You know what it is? I don't let a lot of people in my life, right? I don't need a relationship to make me feel whole.
Right.
I think that's kind of a deal thing for me. Like I just don't. I'm not looking for love. I'm not out there like, oh my God, I need to date. My sister put me on the dating app. I was like, oh my God, I got to get off. First of all, it's terrible on those. Mm-hmm. And people lie. I can't. But so for me, I'm attracted to soul connections. Mm-hmm. If I'm involved with you, that means there's something that I need to grow from. Whatever it is, or you're accenting my life, like you're making my life better in some way. I've had a lot of lessons this last year with just even friendships, but I'm not looking for love. Mm-hmm. So for me, I didn't even know what my rules were. Mm-hmm. I didn't have rules, right? I just kind of go with my heart. That was actually closed for 40 years, but it's been opened. Now it's alive again. I want to close it right back up. Okay, I want to be done. I want to be done. But so I don't know what a deal breaker is because I don't even know. I know what I want is that, I need somebody who's super confident, who is not insecure. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for anybody to rescue me or the Cinderella story. I still have that, but I don't want to be rescued. I don't want to be saved. I want somebody that's like my best bud who's got my back. That to me, flawed, fine, we're all flawed. I should stay away from the 1,000 red flags and maybe focus on one or two instead of so many. But a deal breaker is treating me with value. And understanding that if I'm in your life, it's a gift. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a deal breaker for me if it ever happens, or I'm going to be alone forever, which is also okay too. I'm good. Mm-hmm. I function really well. So you got to accent my life. Mm-hmm. You got to make it's got to feel good. But I realized a lot of things about myself that I had no idea. Mm-hmm. I'm a hyper independent woman, and in relationships, which I never knew, I fall into a weird codependency. And not one that's transparent. I'm not calling you every day and I'm not like, where are you? I'm not jealous. I'm not like, oh my God. It's more of I've modified myself a little bit. I've modified who I am in a relation. I'm like, oh, if I say this, it's going to upset the apple barrel, right? Mm-hmm. I'll just keep it to myself and I'll internalize. Yeah, that's done. I just learned that this year, and I was like, oh my God, I've done this all my life, and with friendships too. Mm-hmm. What I realize is relationships and friendships, all connections are connected. That's why they're called connections. So what I'm looking for in a relationship is the same thing I'm looking for in my friendships.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. I feel like sometimes you want your partner to be your best friend.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, if they cannot be your best friend, they're not good partners.
No.
Yeah.
And you got to be secure with yourself.
Yeah, totally. All right, next question. What's a green flag of your first date?
A green flag?
Yes.
Of my first date? Mm-hmm. Well, the green flag was my first. I don't even date. No, there was not a green flag. He brought his dog. It sat at the table.
What, first date?
Yeah, he sat on the, I did have a first date out. I wasn't into that. And then I had another date from I've only been on 2 dates. That's another thing. Take me on a freaking date. I don't understand. But I don't know how to date. I don't know. I did date my ex when I met him, but I don't know. Guys are just they either want to sleep with me or they're scared of me. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah, they just have that sex energy. When they saw you, they just want to sleep with you
Yeah,
right
no,
away.
I didn't even know that I had that. Like, that's another thing. Like, my therapist told me. She's like, no, Jesse, you have this whole sensual energy. I was like, what? I don't have a sensual. She's like, no. She goes, you have to protect yourself because men just want to sleep with you. They need to earn you. And I was like, who acts like that? Like, I'm not ruled by sex. I'm not ruled by any of that. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm learning so much about the male species that I just didn't know. Okay. I don't know.
You're going to become an expert.
Yes.
So,
an expert at being alone. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to become that. Yes.
So, last question. What's your poison? Wine, whiskey, beer, cocktails? Like, what is your drink?
Well, I don't really drink that much. Only because it hurts me the next day, and sometimes 2 days too long.
Like a hangover?
Oh, gosh. I can barely move. And it also gives me a little anxiety the next day for whatever reason. But I do drink. When I do drink, I definitely go all out. I don't know why. Like, it's either all or nothing. Or sometimes, but I don't drink in my house. Like, I don't drink at home because I have kids, and I just think it's not for me to be drinking in my home. Like, some people have wine every night or whatever, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want my kids to think that's okay. Like, they can do whatever they want, but I don't want to be the cause of that.
Yeah.
So my poison is usually Chopin soda with 3 limes, and a friend of mine in Vegas actually turned me on to a splash of ginger beer. That is my poison. I like it.
Ooh, sounds yummy.
It is yummy.
Yeah. All right, so we are at the end of the show. Jessica, do you have anything to plug?
My vibrator in. Just kidding.
That is so funny. I love it. The vibrator.
Yeah, my vibrator. Because that's what I'm into now, right? Anything electric that I don't have to get emotionally attached to. It just has attachments. I have a lot of stuff coming up. Follow me on Instagram. It's the Jessica Winther because somebody took my name. So I had to put the. I don't actually think I'm that cool. But it's follow me on Instagram. I'm always posting shows in my stories and and sometimes on my my feed. And I got a lot of stuff coming up, but I because it's in the works, I can't quite talk about it. So it's there. But I am doing shows all over. I'll be in Santa Barbara next week. I'll be in the Dominican Republic the 3rd week.
Whoa, how fun.
Yes, but not performing. I mean, I will be performing, but it's a different kind of performance.
Ooh,
yeah,
sounds juicy.
It does. Dominican Republic, anything happens there. Yeah.
Ooh,
no,
yes.
I'm performing like my daughterly duties. So yes, thank you, by the way. I feel like I talked your ear off.
No, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to have you as guest because when you walk in, you bring the energy. You're like, bam, that's just you. You're just being you. I love you. Thank you.
And we're going to be together on Sunday. Well, come see us at Long Beach Laugh Factory. It's 1,000 degrees in this car, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, we need to get out.
Oh no,
yeah.
I have to. Like, if I look red, it's not because I just had a face peel, which I did, but it's literally 120.
Yeah, because I couldn't believe that. I thought today it's gonna be pretty chill, and
she decided to put me in the sun, the white one, the white lady in the sun. Okay.
And I could turn on the air conditioner, but that would affect the audio. That's
it's all about the audio. Thank you, Kat. Well, I'm dying. Okay. Dying. Peace out.
Check Cat Jam in the car.